All live. That's how you know it's live, folks.
No,
And
not yet. Not on my end. I'm working on it. Wow. What a morning.
yeah, a lot of battle. A lot of battle going on. Sure hope people are voting today. If today's a voting day, folks, don't
Uh,
don't even fall down on your job as an American. Please vote today for your
oh,
children's sake. If you can't do it for
please,
you, do it for your
please,
kids.
please vote.
That's
Amen.
all I'm going to do
Okay,
shortly.
I am.
All right,
I'm
we're live
ready.
on mine. Let's go to Heather Van Daren. There we go. We're live on yours too.
Whew,
Good deal.
guys, I,
We
I'm
had
all in it. I'm all in a fluster.
well, we had two pieces of equipment not work on your end, and now
That
it
makes no
is.
sense. Yeah, we were yelling, Team Jesus, Team
Team
Jesus.
Jesus. All right, well, Lady Heather, if you want to kick it off, let's kick it off.
We're back. Welcome to another Warrior Talk. Get inspired and be empowered. You know, there's nothing going to stop us, guys. This is a day of celebration. We've got things to talk about, and we're glad that you're here with us. And so we're going to just get right into that. I'm Heather Thomas Van Daren, in case you didn't know, and I am here and very thankful for my co-host, Sir Brant Fricker. How you doing?
Oh, Lady Heather. Well, I'm better now. We thought we were going to have to reschedule, and but
Yeah,
you got two different broken pieces working at the same time.
that
That
never happens.
no, out of
That's
the
crazy.
blue, but I'm really happy to be here. I'm battling even right now on my end,
Are
but
you?
obviously we're on the right track. We're doing something right here. Yeah.
We certainly are. The last couple of weeks we have really enjoyed because we have covered some information that you guys may not have known about, especially about Jesus through Dr. Ron Charles of cubitfoundation.org.
Mm-hmm.
Cubitfoundation.org. And go back and watch those last two episodes. They will really enlighten you and encourage you with information and facts that you may not have known. And this week, has already started off crazy, Brett, not just for us, but for the whole world.
For the whole
And this week,
world. Yeah, but
yeah,
God's not surprised. He's not surprised.
no,
He laughs at the nations. The scripture, why do the nations rage? And he moves them about like a chess piece. But he is in control, and so folks, if you think you can control anything, you can't. But God is in control. Aren't we glad that He's in control, Heather?
yeah, yes, because I certainly would want to be. That
Well,
would not end well.
yeah, 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 yeah. Well, it just goes to show that you go with what you know, and you trust the process, and you have the
Absolutely.
warrior mentality, and that is, hey, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the whole world's falling apart. You can only stand on one piece of ground at the same time. You know,
Mm, that's
you
that solid rock, man.
yeah, yeah. You just keep going with what you know,
That's right. And don't
and
panic.
yeah.
And don't worry. And worry's a sin. And although I did panic a little bit this morning about these cables that weren't working, but you know, I'll ask God to forgive me about that right now. So it's all good. And we're going to actually revisit a really wonderful
Mm.
topic that we had back in, was it 2024, Brad? We've been
Wow.
together over 3 years now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
and a lot of things can transpire over 3 years. A lot of things can change and a lot of things stay the same. But today we're going to revisit an episode called Cut the Head Off the Snake. What do you think that's about? Brent, I've actually heard that term mentioned a time or two by Pete Hegseth.
Uh
Uh,
huh.
and I thought, wow, that's a coincidence, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But as warriors, we have to be willing to do what we can to keep peace in our little corner of the world and to support those that are out there fighting for us. And we're going to talk about that today. This cut the head off the snake, Brant, was a lot of your deal. You're no stranger to this topic. And, and so I'm going to let you address a little bit about that. But, guys, it's time to sharpen your sword and to be ready, covered in the full armor of God as described in Ephesians 6. And that's ultimately what this is all about, is being conquerors through Christ.
Yep. And more than conquerors, and
Yes.
even more than anyone who's been in leadership for any amount of time understands that a great deal of leadership is disarming. It's not just leading. John Maxwell said, he who taketh a walk with no one followingeth, or he who leadeth with no one following with is only taking a walketh, is the way it goes. And what are we leading? Who are we leading? Who has God put into our hands to lead? More than a ministry, even in our home, who and what are we leading? And leading is disarming. You disarm fear. People don't understand. Fear is a spirit. We have not been given a spirit of fear. They don't understand that. Some people are still stuck 200 years ago. Well, demons don't exist. Boy, if you don't know they exist now, go back to sleep. Keep scrolling. God bless you. No, but we have to disarm situations, disarm dissension, disarm gossip, disarm slander, and we do that with the Word of God. There's plenty of scriptures about disarming gossip and slander. And so cutting the head off the snake often means that you have to confront the source. Now, we know that the source of evil is the enemy. Right. But a good part of leadership is disarming. And that includes disarming ourselves. What do we have to disarm? What habits? If you're trying to stop drinking, well, then you need to disarm the situation and take all the alcohol out of your house if you're convicted to do that, right? If you're being led to get out of a bad, toxic, self-destructive, destructive relationship, well, you have to disarm that by making a decision. The word decision literally means to cut. And talking about cutting the head off the snake, there's so many things that we deal with, so many distractions we deal with, that we need to disarm those things. You know what I mean? But even in the garden, the serpent was a representative of evil. He deceived Eve, and we could talk for years about that. But God was telling the serpent that her offspring will be at war with your offspring. He will strike the heel of humanity. That's the bottom line. God's curse on Satan. He's been the enemy of all humanity. And we're seeing in the world stage all of the factions of communism, toxic feminism, transgenderism, which is Baphomet worship, the killing of children, which is the worship of Baal and Moloch, every evil thing. And a good signature of all that is strife. The Bible says where there is strife, there exists every evil thing. And so that's why starting with ourselves and leading yourself and in your relationships and in your life and in your extended relationships, even in your ministry, you have to cut the head off the snake. You got to meet it at the source. You can't put a Band-Aid over a bullet hole. You've got to confront. I'm a confronter. And when that's why I didn't fit in the vocational ministry world in my late 20s. If there was gossip and slander, I said, hey, let's get all the liars in one room. Let's dance. And they didn't know what to do with that. They were used to playing the same old games that he said, she said, or people are saying. Really, what people? You're the one saying it. So not everyone can handle that, but it is out of love that God has given us the power to cut the head off the snake in every
Yeah.
situation in our life.
Now cut the head off the snake, disarm, and not only disarm, but dismantle.
Mhm.
Because we've got to ensure that it doesn't seep back into our lives. So we have to totally dismantle the snake. And Satan's not welcome at my house. Satan's not welcome on my property. Satan is not welcome in my life. And I have the power to reject and rebuke him.
Right.
You guys, we have so much power available to us through the Lord that we don't even tap into half of it. And I've learned also what you're talking about. Call it what it is. Just stop things before they get started. Even if it involves you and your feelings. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit lacy right now. You're the leather, I'm the lace, right? But it just reminded me when you were talking, and this has nothing to do with war, but it could lead to that through your own people by letting things fester.
Mhm.
I learned a long time ago, and it's scriptural, that if you are offended or you offend your brother, what are you supposed to do? Get mad, talk about them, block them, off of Facebook, all that silly stuff. No, you're supposed to go to them and say, hey, man, I don't know what you meant by this, but this really hurt my feelings. Let's talk about it. And the majority of the time, I have found people go, oh, no, I did not mean it like that. I am so sorry. There's just every walk of life. Disarm and dismantle any form of evil that's trying to creep into your life. What do you think about that, Brent?
Well, I think it's good, and it starts with us. For me, I don't lie. I don't lie. I never lie. Have I lied before? You better believe it. Lied my butt off. But there came a point in my life where I said, you know what? I'm not going to lie. And no, I don't want to say no one. We know people who deliberately lie. But the average person doesn't think, hey, I'm going to lie today. What they do is for various reasons, whether they're afraid of confrontation or maybe they're afraid. Nothing good comes from fear. They're concerned what
That's
people
right.
think about them, so they give a half truth, right? They don't want to, right? Or maybe they don't feel safe sharing whatever the situation is. Hey, I get it. I've been there.
Mm.
But there came a time where I just said, you know what? I've been hurt enough by liars. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to make sure. I'm going to put the spotlight on me in this situation, and I'm going to make sure that I never give a half truth. And there's so much going here. I'm dealing with so many people in different cities. My assignment in this life that I've chosen requires me to really be on my game, and not at just one thing, but multiple things in different cities. So I can't remember who I said what to. And I don't have to.
Right.
I just tell the truth. You don't have to have a good memory if you tell the truth. So that's a way to cut the head off the snake. If you want to have integrity in your life, I'm going to say what I mean and mean what I say. I can't remember for creativity reasons and then other reasons. I can't remember who I said what to. So if I always tell the truth, then I don't have to remember jack. And if you ask me next week, it's going to be the same answer because it's the truth. So
Yes.
when I cut the head off the snake in my own realm, then that's when I can call out. I can call, people who call out others, yet they're liars themselves. They're liars and manipulators and cheaters and thieves.
Yeah.
They're
That's
snakes.
the log and the splinter.
Oh boy, but they can call out, it's like narcissism. Boy, no one uses the word narcissist like a true narcissist because it's everyone else's fault. It's never my fault. It's everyone else's fault. The inability to see fault in yourself. But my Bible tells me to humble yourself in the sight of the Lord and he will lift you up. God, I don't ever want to hurt anyone. And I saw people in ministry tell one person this, another person this, another person this, and then people get hurt. And it's not that they were bad people, they were just cowards. So don't be a coward. Say what you mean and mean what you say without apology. And if you need to apologize, then apologize. But when you get that right, then I believe the Lord will bless you, and you can see it from a mile away. and it's
Yeah.
okay to confront it, you know. But we are living in a time where you better be ready to confront evil. It's all around you.
That's
And
right.
if you don't think the enemy is in your church, you know, some people still don't understand that there are covens that send witches to churches to dismantle churches. Oh, wake up for God's sake. Where you been? Snap out of it. That's been around for
Yeah.
hundreds of years. Okay? I mean,
You
that's a
know,
reality, you know?
I heard a long, long time ago, oh, Satan can't be in the church because he can't be in the church where the Holy Spirit is because he can't abide there. Well, Satan was in the garden, you guys.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, he
Yeah.
was right there with Adam and Eve, two perfect human
Uh,
beings created by God, and he was right there with them. He got started early.
he
As soon
infiltrated.
as he infiltrated, as soon as God created two humans to start his miraculous, wonderful plan, guys, Satan wasted no time. Don't even pet the snake. Don't
Yeah.
entertain the snake.
Don't feed it.
Don't give the snake the benefit of the doubt. You've got to reject him, disarm and dismantle him immediately when you see him in your life. You know that saying, Brent, you said somebody said you can feed a snake, love a snake, and even pray for a snake. But don't be discouraged and listen to this. It doesn't matter because the snake's still going to bite you.
Right. Right. And
You
don't
know,
entertain the snake, you know?
don't entertain
Don't
him at
entertain it.
all.
I mean, in our generation, back in the day, we had missionary dating, right? Well, we'll bring him to the Lord. Well, that never works out. Very seldom does that work out. But don't even entertain it. See a snake for what it is, you know? Trump was
Right.
right. You know, he was right. I don't blindly follow him, by the way. Nor do
No.
I completely trust anybody. But actions do speak louder than words. I'm hearing the cowards say, "Well, why did we do that?" Do you not understand how close they were to a nuke?
Right.
How stupid and cowardly can you be? We had to act. We had to cut the head off the snake. And
That's right.
we did that as a nation. I don't care who you vote for. And for God's sake, vote today. There are a
You
lot
know,
of dead Iranians who didn't get to vote. You know, a lot of people who didn't wake up today. And our founding fathers, if they thought we were even entertaining voting for the very people that they fought against and bled against. But you got to cut the head off the snake. In that case, it's ignorance. It's a hardened heart. And
mm,
but you know, but we start because Luke 10:19, I give you, behold, look, I give you authority to tread
there you
over
go.
serpents and scorpions, over all the
Mhm.
power of the enemy, and no, nothing will harm you. And you know, we've been given authority over that. You know, 90% of what you worry about never happens, and most of the
Yeah.
devil's work on this earth, if not all, is done through people, through deceit and willful deceit. So sometimes we have to cut the head off the snake by refusing to be ignorant. You know, this and
Mhm.
this and this doesn't fix anything. Look where it's got us. You know, but it's just really important that we really get this, that we rise up and stand for something. And sometimes
Mhm.
again, that means we have to stop the world and say, you know what kind of person do I want to be? Okay, so I want to be this kind of person that speaks the truth, a person that lives pure, a person that makes things right, a person that follows the king. Okay, well, if that's who I want to be, then I need to be walking towards that, and I need to
Yes.
and decisions or opportunities that present themselves that is not in line with me speaking the truth. You know how many networks I could work for right now with what I've got to accomplish? If I could just lay down to the truth, I can make a lot of money. I could. I have good
Yeah.
friends that refuse to be on Fox because they were told to lie or told to, and don't trust Fox, owned by the same snakes.
Mm.
They were told to refrain and lay down to the truth. So,
Now, Brent,
you know,
I don't envision you as anything more than a man of integrity, certainly not compromise.
Well, you're very
And
kind,
that
but
that's something that we need to stand by.
well,
And
well, you've done it too, Heather. You've done it too. I mean, come on, how many times you turn on the Dove Awards and you didn't know you're watching a Christian show? You sure as heck
mm,
didn't know from the way the women were dressed.
oh yeah, I know.
So you
It's sad.
compromise too, right? That's a whole nother story. But anything that is not in line with your creed of speaking the truth, of living
Hmm.
pure, of righting wrong, okay,
And
um,
following that
and
king, the
following the
one and
King.
only.
Any
Yeah.
opportunity that's not in line with that, you don't do, and that's not easy.
Hmm.
That's not easy. You can make a whole lot more money if you were a liar and a manipulator like the people I've known. But when you find out that money really isn't worth anything, if you realize how little your money is worth right now, folks, you
Yeah.
wouldn't kill yourself to make it. Now we need it, but this is a time where we cut the head off the snake, the serpent, the deceitful one. The ancient Jews believed that the serpent was Eve's best friend. I mean, animals talked to humans, and humans talked to animals. Serpent was the shining one, and that the enemy possessed the serpent to deceive Eve. Well, we'll find out one day what the situation was. But you know what? The enemy can use your friends. The enemy can use people in your circle. That's why you got to keep your circle small. You know,
That's right. That's right.
I love Heather, but you know what? I'm never going to lie to her. I'm never going to use her. I'm never going to be inappropriate with her or put her in a situation that's going to compromise her. She's my sister, you know, but you gotta analyze your inner circle and decide what kind of person you're going to be. There are just certain things I'm not going to do, and so, but that's cutting. That's deciding, right? That's deciding.
Yeah.
That's cutting.
Yeah.
That's cutting the head off the snake. And
And hey,
this,
Brent,
yeah,
not only that, snakes make really great belts and boots.
yeah, yeah. They do.
You know, so get that sword out, cut the head off the snake. I have a real quick story I want to share with you. As a friend of mine, he's actually my farrier, but he is such an interesting person, and I call him MacGyver because he can go. I think I've said this before. I think I brought him up before. If anything ever happens where we're all just thrown out into the wilderness of survival, I'm going with this guy because he knows all the wild plants and the tree barks and the limbs, and he knows what to do with them. And he has created the most beautiful bows out of snakeskin. And I mean, he's done everything from whittling the wood down, everything, the arrows, the bows, the whole 9 yards, done it all from scratch. And there was a couple of summers ago that we really had problems here at the farm with snakes, especially copperheads, and he explained how the beauty of the skin of the copperhead is actually behind it in the meat. And if you have to have a certain slice underneath the skin to allow the beauty to come through. It's really interesting process that he does and dries the skin and everything. Well, he told me, he said, next time you see a copperhead, he says, I'm running low on copperheads. So next time you see one, he said, just get you a really sharp knife or, a machete or whatever, make sure it's sharp, and just cut its head off for me and then put it in a
There you
Ziploc
go.
bag
There you
and put
go.
it in the freezer. And I looked at him mortified. I said, dude, when I get through with those copperheads, you can't make anything out of them because they are just annihilated. But that's how serious we got to be about cutting the
Yeah.
head off the snake. We
Well,
have to be deliberate at all costs.
and it starts here. It starts here. In martial arts, one of the arts that I trained in, Rattan, with the sticks, the fire sticks. You had a pattern.
Yeah.
You had a pattern.
Uh,
And this pattern it can be used with knives. Reverse grip or one reverse once, whatever. It can be used with. I mean, dude, you could kill somebody with a pencil if you needed to. Okay, you
wow.
really could. But in this pattern, you know, head, body, head, body, head. You get this pattern. It's almost impenetrable. And so I learned this pattern with the sticks, right? Well, I never did it with swords until I was surprised at a men's event. Yeah, we've been on the radio talking about your sword demonstration. I'm like, sword demonstration? I pass around a sword. That's all I do. Well, I had 3 days to learn how to do that with swords, and I couldn't find dull swords. I can only find razor sharp swords, and I cut my Achilles heel, and I pulled it off in time. But I never forgot that. Well, I get a call late at night from my neighbor. Her husband wasn't home yet, and that she couldn't go into her house because this snake, this big snake that was hissing and all that, was threatening her, freaked her out. Well, I had a cane that came apart as a sword. I always love. I've got more weapons than you can imagine, and I had a cane that came apart as a sword, and so I ran over there, because hey, this snake's trying to, strike this lady. And so this thing's standing up, and it wasn't a cobra. It'd be a better story if it was. It wasn't. But this thing, and it was right there. And I'm going, I'm doing the pattern. Some of you need to find your pattern.
Ooh.
And then with that pattern, I went, boom, and cut it right when it struck me. Boom, cut its head off.
Wow,
I cut the head off that snake.
Yes, you did.
But I had to have a pattern, and I had to disarm fear. I had to cut the head off of fear with a pattern. Some of you don't know what to do in your life. Well, we have an instruction manual called the Bible. If you know what to do in your life, then you're not conformed to the pattern of this world. I feel the Spirit in that. But you get on His pattern, right?
Yeah.
And again, and that pattern translates to anything. The warrior mentality sees everything as a weapon. I've been attacked by 3 men before. Well, guess what? Most people are not coordinated with each other. So I'm going to hit you. I'm going to kick him. I'm going to kick him in the throat. I'm going to use his body against him, and I'm going to use him and take him down. Okay? And I did some of that. It's because a pattern, a discipline, it translates to everything in your life. When you begin to live in a way where you seize the offensive, where the hunted becomes the hunter. Okay? And there's a bump in the night, guess what? You ain't hunting me. I'm hunting you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm enjoying it.
Mm.
You feel me?
Be
so
determined.
That's the warrior mentality. That's cutting the head off the snake of fear. Fear is the base of everything that's jacking you up, folks. Fear of what people think. They don't exist. Fear of what they say. Hey, I'm too busy winning to gossip about somebody. Okay? Be so busy winning that you don't hear the noise. And if you chase down every rumor and thing, you don't even know what everyone's saying about you. Forget them. That they have their own walk. But going back to the belts and all that, I remember Romancing the Stone, the end of the first Romancing the Stone, this guy dives in after this feared alligator. He dives in after him. And later in the movie, he's about to close, he's wearing alligator boots. So some of you don't need to run from the enemy. You need to say, hey, I'd like to have a pair of boots or a belt with your skin on it. You know what I mean? Or, to say, oh, they've got guns. Well, there's a different mentality in the warrior mentality. Oh, they're bringing me my new guns. Bring it. So you got to have the warrior mentality and start with yourself. When David said, Lord, show me any offensive way in me, and He will. I've done that before. God, show me any offensive way. Man, He showed me a lot of things that I wasn't aware of. But you have to cut the head off the snake first in your own life. Then you can walk in the authority to cut off the head of the snake strategically, relationally, in your relationships, extended family, and ministry, and in business.
And determine, like you said, ahead of time, how you're going to react. Know thy true self, and just be ready at all times, in season and out. And Remember, fear does not come from the Lord, so reject that immediately. Live pure, speak truth, right wrong, and follow the King. We love you guys. We hope this has helped you today. Go vote!